Hey y'all, what's happening? Chinese here, also known as China Acosta, an actress and independent filmmaker. I want to take this time out to shout out motherfucking Soul Food, the movie. I streamed it this weekend and I hadn't seen it in a long time. I always liked this film, but that's not true anymore. I don't like this film. I love this film so much. Um, I love that this movie is set in Chicago. It's filmed in Chicago, not in Toronto. Um, I love that it's a film about the Black American family and and the importance of family, sticking together despite any challenges a family will experience throughout, with various members of the family. I like that the close knit relationship of the mother, the grandmother, and her grandson, her oldest grandchild, played by Brandon Hammond wonderfully. Brandon Hammond played the character of Ahmad, and the story was also narrated and told from his point of view as the oldest grandchild, as the grandson. He was like 11 or 10 years old, 11 or 12. The character was 11 or 12. And that young man, that young actor his eyes are so beautiful, so dreamy, so beautiful and black. He was so stellar, as Vivica Fox said in an interview. His performance was stellar. You dig? It was so touching and realistic and relatable and grounded. And he displayed emotional diversity, and the character displayed such wisdom taught by his grandmother. He really digested the wisdom she espoused to him and was able to in turn communicate it to the adults in the family, but not in a way that's disrespectful or I'm better than you. Like some of these movies, they show kids who are talking to their adults like they're fucking adults. I can't stand those kind of movies. Ugh. Back to Soul Food. Um, he was incredible as an actor, and if he ever sees this, thank you for your artistry in interpreting that character, that story. You were wonderful, and I was moved in my soul by your performance. So thank you. Thank you to those who wrote Soul Food. It was so wonderfully written. Shout out and thank you to the director George Tillman Jr. for directing such a beautiful um, love story, but it was a love story of family. Um, I love the relationship between. I love the dynamic of like the three adult sisters. There was Vanessa Williams with the blue eyes. She played the oldest sister who was a successful attorney, but who was guarded and very straight-laced and judgmental. And then there was who wasn't a great cook, but she was great at being an attorney. I loved the Vivica A. Fox character who played the middle sister, who was like a wonderful mother, a wonderful wife, a wonderful cook. Um, she was the strongest person in the family. She was very balanced, very warm, and um, kind and funny. Vivica A. Fox did a wonderful job in portraying this character. Wonderful, wonderful. And then Nia Long playing the youngest sister who was recently married. Nia Long did a great job in this as well. Playing a sassy, sexy entrepreneur who was a beautician hairstylist who wasn't a great cook either. Um, but she was passionate and knew what she wanted and went after it. Um, Vanessa Williams was wonderful too, and the whole cast, everybody in this movie killed it. The principal cast and supporting, bravo, 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 bravo to this cast and to the director and writing, bravo all the way around. Irma P. Hall, who played the grandmother, the mother of the three daughters, bravo, stellar, stellar. She reminded me of my sweet auntie. Rest in peace to my auntie, Irma P. Hall. Thank you for giving us such a warm and truthful and grounded and loving interpretation of Big Mama, aka the grandmother. So stellar, bravo. Very moved. I cried at the end of this movie. I cried throughout. I laughed. I was pissed. I understood. And then the cousin who played Gina Rivera, Ravera, Rivera. I don't know how you pronounce her name, but she was wonderful as a cousin who was kind of like the misfit. You know, she was always getting in trouble when she was younger, but she was a professional dancer, a wonderful dancer. She gave great emotional diversity. Jeffrey D. Sams, who played Vivica A. Fox's husband, he's fine as fuck. Sorry, but he is. He was wonderful, down to earth, blue collar man, loving husband, good father, respectful, funny, supportive. Great job. And Michael Beach is always dope. He, for some reason, always cast as the philandering husband, the cheating husband. I don't know why he's always cast in those roles, but he's a really fine actor. He's a wonderful actor. He was wonderful in this too. Again, everybody conveyed emotional diversity in their characters. Nobody was flatlined in their acting. I love it. I don't want to miss anybody. The little girl was cute. You know, she didn't have a lot, but she was memorable. The actor who played Uncle Pete was, when he did show up on the scene, fantastic. His monologue he delivered about when he was a little, well, their father passed away. He's like, Joe, you got to take care of me now. When he was delusional, thinking his sister was still alive when she had just passed away. That monologue he delivered, it made me cry. Now that says a lot. For you as an actor, you only really have 3 scenes in a whole movie, but you really only have one scene where you actually are communicating with another character, like verbally. And when that actor, he really prepared and did his homework, because it was so moving. I cried. It was so touching how he delivered that monologue. Just beautiful. Shout out to American Black actors. You know, it's been a little shift in certain prominent roles as of late in some films. So, American Black actors are fucking dope, okay? We're fucking dope, too. Just need to say that. Not saying other actors are not dope, we're fucking dope. And some people are trying to act like we're replaceable, and we're not. Okay? But getting back to this American Black cast, this wonderful American Black cast, I was just so touched. I'm going to talk about some certain parts, like, I'm going to talk about the Terry character, the Vanessa Williams character with the blue eyes, and her husband Michael B. When her mother was sick, got in a coma, he was like, let's dance. She's like, no, I don't feel like dancing. He's like, to take your mind off. She's like, no, dance, what? She didn't want to dance at the reception before her mother became ill. He's trying to take her mind off of dancing. She didn't want to dance. He said that he took $5,000 out of their savings account to invest in a CD he was going to produce, because he was also a musician, songwriter. She didn't want to support him on that. She called it a hobby. That was a waste of time. He was offended that she even thought that she called his music inspiration or passion a hobby. She was unapologetic about it. Discouraging. It's one thing to not, I could see if the dude, like, I'm going to stop working altogether and just, no, but he had substantial savings. He had been an attorney for some time. She was not only, it's one thing, like, I don't really support it because I don't know where this is going. I don't know the stability of it. That's reasonable. But to be discouraging, she never went to any of his showcases. Nothing. And then her cousin comes along, who's also an artist, who's a professional dancer, modern dancer. She's showing all type of support and encouragement. She's happy for him. And Vanessa's not an artist, so sometimes non-artists cannot be as supportive sometimes. But she was just so demanding of people, and the cousin came along at a time, and she needed Miles' help to audition for a dance show, and he was willing to help her, even though it was unfamiliar to him playing um, piano or the dance. He's never done that, but he did it because he saw that she was passionate about dancing and she needed his help, and he said he was willing to help her. She ended up booking a job, and there was a scene where she comes back to the house and acknowledges, he asked her about that. Did she book the job? She says yes. She's happy. She's like, to celebrate, and they're talking and talking, and they both had some beers. They were drinking beer, and she's like, I'm gonna get on out of here because Terry is Vanessa Williams is being so mean and demanding. I'm just gonna find my own place, and as a dancer, I'm always on the go. And he calls her out. He's like, that's bullshit. She's like, excuse me? And he's like, that's a lonely life. Being an artist is great. But if you don't have family or even close friends, like, that shit is lonely. It's not enough. Being an artist without family, family who you love and who love you, or friends who love you and you love them, that's not enough. That's not feeling enough. You need more than that as a human being. And he called her on her bullshit, and she was offended at first, and he walked off to his studio room to work on more music, and she came upstairs, and I was like, trouble is coming. So because she was happy for his music and really encouraged him to keep going, and he said that he had quit his job, he was going to quit it in 2 weeks, she was really happy for him. When she went upstairs after he called her on her bullshit, shout out to George Tillman Jr., the director, because this scene was fucking amazing. There were no words. After he told her off or put her in place, like, that's bullshit, he went upstairs. When she went upstairs after him, he was working on his more music, and she just approached him on some, like, non-verbally on some, I'm feeling you. Let's get it in, because we're both attracted to each other. We both love art. We're both artists. We're both happy for each other. We had a little and non-verbally, they started kissing and touching. But I want to shout out the way their love-making scene or their intimate scene was choreographed. Bravo. As a dancer, first and foremost, that scene was magnificent, because the movement that was involved, the choreography that was involved in how they were first kissing and touching, being intimate and affectionate, and to them having actual intercourse, all that looked like a dance to me, with the beautiful Chicago skyline behind them. And when it was very passionate scene, and when Vanessa happened to see them, but they didn't see her, and she walked back down the stairs, and when they concluded their intimacy, the look on their faces was like, we fucked up. We fucked up. And the nonverbal communication from Michael Beach, the husband, Vanessa's husband, and the cousin, Gina Rivera, was magnificent. I mean, we saw them go from ambiguity, should we be doing this, to we want to do this, all nonverbal, to we want to do this, we shouldn't do it, let's just do it. God, this feels good. Oh, this feels good. This is wonderful. Damn, we fucked up. We shouldn't have done that. All nonverbal, all choreographed, all wonderful. So, I mean, I love nonverbal scenes as much as I love to talk. I love them, and the actors executed that scene well. It was written really well. It was directed really well. I just need to shout out that scene. And also, I wanted to bring up a point where at the top of the film, when they were having dinner, the grandmother, Irma P. Hall, was at the at the head of the table, giving wisdom, right, to the family about being a strong family, a strong unit coming together. Don't get into this who shot John shit, just finger pointing. That's not the business. At the end of the film, towards the end of the film, when they came together to have a Sunday dinner again, guess who's at the head of the table? Guess. The grandson, Ahmad, played by Brandon Hammond. You see, I just love, and this, I've seen this film, I don't know how many times, but when I watched it at the Fort Greene Park today in Brooklyn, I noticed, I was like, oh my God, he's sitting at the head of the table, because he will, in fact, to me, he's like not Big Mama, but he's like the new vessel for which all his wisdom will be espoused from. He is that person. She passed on that wisdom and he really digested it. And so he's going to me, future, he's going to be a wonderful father, a wonderful husband, a wonderful uncle, a wonderful person. He's going to inherit the house that they saved, they kept in the family, which is key, right? And because of the wisdom he has, he's going to know how to manage the house. I mean, the relationship between his sisters was wonderful, complicated, realistic, and wonderful. This movie was everything. Movie is everything. Like I said, the acting was wonderful. The writing was so good. Because it was just refreshing. And I love that this little black boy, it ended on this little black boy's face sitting on the porch with his great uncle and his father and his uncle and their little sister on his great uncle's knee. And we just see his beautiful midnight eyes reminiscing about his grandmother and acknowledging things are going to be okay. The family's all back together. And that their grandmother left a great legacy. And it ends on a little black boy, you know, like with all this wisdom and understanding and love from his family. And that's a wonderful mission for little black boys to see a little black boy starring in a film, expressing wisdom and understanding, but still being a child and learning and loving and being loved and being respected as a young boy and just being so loved and knowing he's loved. That movie needs to be shown to all little black boys, black teenagers, and little black girls. They need to see that. Yeah, I love that it ended on his little handsome face. I really do. Yeah, so if y'all get a chance, any of millennials, if you see this, please check out Soul Food, the movie. You can rent it or stream it on YouTube, on Amazon Prime. It's definitely an investment because it will warm your heart, and it's so much better than some of these movies that have been released lately. I mean, the standard has been lower. There's no stereotypes of black Americans in this movie. There's no oversimplification of black Americans. There's no like we all just ignorant, we all like there's none of that foolish dumb shit. Very balanced people, like people in my family. You know, some of these movies nowadays have these fucking stereotypes of black people, like we don't know how to speak. We just anyway. Please, if you get a moment, watch Soul Food, the movie released in 1997. It is a gem. I hope it impacts you wonderfully like it has me. Shout out to the writer, director. Shout out to the cast and the crew for choosing to bring this kind of story of the American Black experience set in Chicago. Peace.